Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, June 24th. We're starting a little early because I haven't slept in quite a while, and my fear is if I don't stream right now, I will fall asleep and not stream at all today. So let's do that. Alright, so the time has come pretty quickly that I need to go back and do the Great Heist bosses and defeat 3 of them, which gives me an excuse to pretty much make a hunter deck and try and play it to beat the final chapter in the solo expansion. And otherwise, I guess maybe we could try to get a paladin priest victory, but we really don't need to get all 3 of the things done, so we can just kind of focus on this.
Join me.
Alright.
For the greatest criminal
I finished Doom for Doom 2016 for what it's worth. I feel like now, having played the entire single player and determined that I had no interest at that point to replay the single player to get all the collectibles, or play the multiplayer, which I probably couldn't even find games for, or possibly play the snap map. I don't want to do that, or play the arcade mode. I did try out the arcade mode. It's really just a slightly different way to play the game a second time, or third or fourth time. I feel like Doom 2016 was really overhyped, and probably not worth the $60 you would have paid for it. So I suspect the Doom Eternal will be out sometime around the time that the videos for Doom 2016 air, and I really won't have much motivation to buy that game quick. Maybe in a couple years I'd be willing to play it, but there's a lot of problems with the id Tech engine. It's just not a popular enough engine to still exist in 2019. Frankly, they would have done better making the game in Unreal. It would have run better. There's major components that I feel like were directly stolen from games like Dead Space and just generic first-person shooter games. There was enough things to make it slightly noticeable that were taken out from the original Doom. In particular, I would say the fact that it turns to it turns the game into a 3D platformer where you're jumping, double jumping, and climbing ledges. That's not how Doom 1 or 2 worked. The original Doom 1 and 2 worked. That was always a almost 100% flat flat set of levels. I think the levels that were designed in Doom 2016 are designed very poorly and made as if they were multiplayer levels where people could just run in circles, something along the lines of a Quake Arena level, or if they aren't multiplayer levels, then they are extremely long straight lines from point A to point B.
One shot, 3 kills.
They really only remastered the enemies that existed in Doom 1 or 2. They spent no energy whatsoever to have have any new creatures or characters really show up. I don't think the AI for the for the enemies were very good. I was playing on easy, so maybe they are smarter when you play on a higher difficulty. But on the point of playing on easy, I was still losing a fifth of my health every time I took a hit.
Bring out your dead.
There really didn't seem like there was any way to get around that. And so often there were scenarios where I was either very close to dying or actually died. Which didn't feel great, certainly. They somehow had less story and less character building in Doom 2016 than what you would have had, I think, in the original Doom, which the original Doom really just had a line of text around it. I kind of think it's a betrayal of what the original Doom is, to have put in some light RPG elements. I kind of feel like it's a betrayal of what the original game was, to have it then put in collectibles. I was just overall not impressed with Doom 2016, and it was so hyped. Perhaps this is in part my own fault. Maybe I'm still, or at least I was in 2016, almost certainly in 2016, I was listening to a lot of Giant Bomb, and they were acting as pretty much my only reference or source as far as game reviews. I've kind of expanded out a little bit since then, and also I've kind of gotten away from listening to mainstream video game journalists' opinion in general as far as reviews of games. But so maybe it was just a case that Giant Bomb every Tuesday on their Bombcast, which I don't even know if they had their Friday Beastcasts even in 2016. It could be that for many weeks that they were talking about Doom, and maybe they were talking about it a lot during the end of the year conversation. Almost certainly they were. And that made me overly hyped on the game. But in actually playing it, there really isn't a lot there. You would be better off playing Dead Space, since a lot of its content feels like it's stolen directly from Dead Space. You'd be better off playing a better first-person shooter with zombie horde mode. I feel like some of the Gears of War games would probably give you a better experience. I imagine the Halo games would probably give you better level designs. If I recall correctly, I've heard that the Halo series is kind of legendary for having some particularly good levels. So yeah, there's a seriously? I have no secrets in my deck, apparently. I imagine even Battlefront might be a better choice, or Call of Duty might be a better choice, as far as a game with different weapons, better thought out weapons, better enemies. Maybe there really isn't a better enemy AI in Battlefront or Call of Duty, but yeah. The bigger problem that I think you run into is you'll have Doom 2016 is really trying to change what Doom is, when it really should have just been a improvement on Doom 1 and Doom 2. And while you can unlock some of the original classic maps, they use the original graphics and they look horrible. When, in all honesty, I would like just to have been able to play through all of the levels through episode 1 through 4 of Doom 1 and all of the episodes, everything that it was in Doom 2. The snap map element that was made goes to show that they were clearly wasting resources all over the place, and they should have instead been more focused on more simplistic things, like a more open mod system would definitely be appreciated a lot more than snap map, because the first thing I would want to do for Doom 2016 would be to make all the enemies less bullet spongy, even on the easy mode, and make a very easy mode. Even at the end of the game, when I had maximized the amount of ammo I could have and upgraded most of the weapons, it's still extremely easy to simply it's still extremely easy to simply run out of bullets or get very close to running out of bullets, and it really goes to show why they needed that chainsaw mechanic. But then the BFG mechanic that you get unlocked really is only there as a similar solution to the same problem, and that problem being that you run out of bullets way faster than you should. The character writing is terrible, the story writing is terrible, the engine is glitchy. It's not like Doom 2016 is a terrible game. It's a really overhyped game that is mediocre at best. It would have been a fine game to play if it wasn't called Doom, but then it has a slight problem of being called Doom and having to live up to the hype of being called Doom. So it kind of has to stay within a certain story area. I don't think you could probably go deeper with the demonic element. It needs to stay not super crazy. If they had made Doom 2016 look like the game Agony, for instance, that just probably wouldn't have been mainstream enough for ZeniMax.
Shining moon priestess. We should introduce
so you kind of have to leave it as a kind of cartoony demon shooter that glorifies violence. So the glorification of violence, I think, is inherently a part of Doom. So you wouldn't want to remove that. But I could totally see a better writer try to put some story and characterization and heart into that. The problem with Doom Guy or Duke Nukem or Serious Sam or any of those old first-person shooter characters, or Wolfenstein, BJ Blazkowicz, all of them are shallow, vapid characters, so rewriting them as a not shallow, vapid character, I think, would be very helpful. my theory, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud, is I had an idea to fix Duke Nukem in particular, because that's a game where you're running around and you're shooting alien pigs in police officer uniforms. So the only way I thought to fix that is you would start in a cutscene where
Is someone injured?
where BJ Blazkowicz is at a Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and he's like holding the hand of a new loving, caring female interest, and this really is just refrigerating this female interest in all honesty. But you see in a few scenes at the beginning that like he admits he's been drunk on alcohol, which you were drinking alcohol in the Nukem games, and that was severely making him hallucinate, and so he was hallucinating everything from that point. And so then what you have is you show those characters leaving that meeting, and you get robbed by some gang member that has like a pig tattoo or something, or is wearing a pig logo, as if this is the gang called the Pigs, and they shoot the girl female interest, and that pushes him back over the edge. And so throughout the entirety of the game you could have it where he can choose to drink, and he might get some stat bonuses from that, but it will also make him hallucinate and see the world more like the old games looked like, or he can try and stay sober. But it's on this like revenge plot set in a more realistic real world. Now that is almost certainly not a story that I think Gearbox could tell, because I don't think Gearbox can tell a serious story, or has any interest in that, and Gearbox owns Duke Nukem right now. But something like that is what I think you need to do with all the characters. You need to have Master Chief show interest and care about Cortana, which I'm fairly certain that at the beginning of the Halo series there was not anywhere as much care for Cortana, but it wouldn't hurt also if you expanded Master Chief into more of a character where he cared about other people and had an actual backstory. I think he's a clone, so it'd be a little hard to give him friends or family, but there's something you could do there. But yeah, you have to make, in my opinion, you should make these characters that were one-note characters. You kind of have to rewrite them for a modern time. But they certainly didn't do that with Doom Guy, so Doom Guy as a character doesn't seem to care or have any motivation whatsoever. He's just told what to do. There's one point at the end of Doom 2016 where one of the characters says, "I figured you out. You just have the attitude that we've got to kill them all." And I'm like, how did you figure him out? I've been playing as this character for nearly 10 hours, and I haven't seen a single indication that he cares about anything. So yeah, just it's bad characterization. It's bad writing. It's a plot that really doesn't go anywhere and doesn't really reveal any surprises. One thing they could have done is that one of the main characters is just a mostly humanoid, I guess you call her cyborg, that you, throughout all of Doom, you have not been fighting
Light dim.
anything that's really like humanoid and strong. There's a couple of zombie-like creatures that are in the game, but that's it. So if that mostly humanoid bad character, who is your major bad guy, I guess, although it certainly didn't feel like it, if you had just fought that character and they moved really fast and they were hard to shoot, that would have been a lot more interesting than the boss you do fight as the final boss. And it's only a slight spoiler to say that the humanoid character gets transformed, it seems, or either sacrificed or transformed into this giant character that that really doesn't in any way do anything do anything different in the game versus what you'd seen before.
Dangerous types haunt these taverns. Our types.
So yeah, I was just not impressed at all. It got a lot better, I will say. Doom 2016 in its last three levels were better designed than all the levels before that. About 3 levels. And I took a major break certainly between doing the first majority of the game and the last 3 levels, and that probably hurt me a little bit, but I wasn't having really a great time before I took the break, and when I got back from taking the break I still wasn't really having a great time. I want, I guess, all these enemies.
Well, we get all types around here.
So
Order up.
4 cards with +1/+1. Let's see. Let's reduce this.
Now shake on it.
And that I probably should have played that. Yeah, I should have played this instead to take a chance. But whatever.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
As you can probably tell, there's not a ton of news. Although the Steam sale seems like it's happening tomorrow. And unfortunately, it seems like the Amazon Prime sale is happening in a few weeks from now, like the 13th or the 14th of next month. So things are going to be particularly tight financially for people who want to buy games during the Steam summer sale and at the Amazon Prime Day, which Prime Day is a mixed bag. A lot of the offers are not really worth getting, or not really that much on sale. Maybe this year will be different, but I have no reason to really believe that. So yeah, that's a problem. The Raspberry Pi Model 4, the Raspberry Pi 4 Model B, not B+, was just announced today, which really just means that if you're trying to make a small retro Pi, you now have something that is 3 to 4 times more powerful, that uses different plugs and uses more electricity, but also can be bought in 1, 2, or 4 gigabyte RAM configurations, which means you can then split the amount of RAM to give the video card section of the system on the chip more support. Also, so yeah, that's cool. It being the Model B and not a B plus, in probably 6 months there will be a B plus model that either fixes some small issue or improves on some small thing. I don't know what else you can really ask for without majorly increasing the price on the Raspberry Pi. There's certainly some things that the Model 4 has fixed. It now has gigabit Ethernet. It now has it now has 2 USB 3.0 controllers, connectors. It's more focused, it seems like, on being able to distribute more power, which sometimes you've run into issues where if you tried to plug in an external hard drive, for instance, that used the power off a USB connector, there just was not enough power getting provided to a circuit board. It's a tiny circuit board, so it's not super surprising that things like that might happen. But yeah, otherwise I think the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module chip is the same. The CPU chip is better, but it might be it certainly could be a little bit better otherwise. It has 2 micro HDMI connectors for 2 different monitors to plug it into. It would be nice if one of those could also do HDMI in, but that's something I don't think many people would really need. It still has the composite video out with right and left mini stereo jack connector, all in one cord.
Smelly fish, yummy fish.
It doesn't have a M2 slot where you can plug in M2 memory instead of a micro SD. It just has the standard micro SD. That would be one thing that it could have improved upon, but that's so future focused that it's not like it's that would be a smart move. That would actually be a very bad move to lose USB support for a new connector, so you'd have to add that. Still doesn't have a real-time clock, which would require a battery, and putting any kind of battery in it would make it a lot harder to ship internationally.
Science overwhelming.
But yeah, it's not a lot more you could ask for it. I think that for the Raspberry Pi Foundation, instead of having annual releases, they should take it upon themselves to instead just release a new line of Raspberry Pis called the Raspberry Pi Max that could be targeted at $100. And they've kind of done that because the 4 gigabyte model, the model of the 4 Model B, is $50. So when you're buying more RAM, you're paying a high price for that. But
The townspeople stand against.
but yeah, if you had something
Not my first
that
torch-wielding
was just going for twice as powerful as the chip they are using now, something that had to be plugged in, something that was using close to like 15 or 20 amps even, something that absolutely had a super powerful processor and a super powerful large amount of RAM. That would be interesting, certainly, but even that concept starts to become unnecessary as the years go by, and they're saying the Model 4 now is the equivalent of an introductory low-end Windows PC, so a laptop equivalent. And yeah, if I was working in IT in some field and I wanted to give a bunch of people at a bunch of different off-site offices a computer, and I didn't want to have to deal with making sure that the computer made it in one piece, or that the computers were going to get stolen quite a bit, and I really didn't need the computers to be that powerful. If I just needed them to be a place where you logged into a website, the Raspberry Pi 4 Model B, it might suit the need for that. That being said, there still is a lot to say about the familiarity of instead handing somebody a older iPad, which when you're comparing two systems that are doing about the same, a iPad versus a Raspberry Pi, people are going to be a lot more familiar with the iPad. But I doubt you could even find old iPads for $55. Of course, you would also have to have them plug in a mouse and keyboard and an HDMI compatible monitor or a composite compatible TV. But so you're going to be paying a lot for more of the components compared to like a Android tablet. Yeah, I think a cheap Android tablet still probably would be a better bet if you were going to do something like that. And the Raspberry Pi still is much more closer to a Tinker concept than a legitimate concept that as a replacement to some of the other options. But yeah, I'm still a somewhat fan of the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pis for the retro gaming element more than anything else.
You are not the boss of me.
It's still definitely to be seen, though, whether this new model is going to significantly improve the performance of any like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, or most noticeably Nintendo 64 gameplay. I don't think it's going to be such an improvement that it is going to yeah, I don't think it's going to be such an improvement that it's going to open up the door to PlayStation 3 emulation or Xbox One emulation. I think that's not likely. Oh man, this guy had a strategy. So he was getting rid of all of his cards. So he could just put more of these pogo things in his hand. Well, I guess at this point there's no more lollygagging around it. Let's start covering the name and start covering the news, and then see what happens. So what's funny is he was supposed to have drawn a card and deal 5 damage. That didn't happen. Not 5 damage, but 50 damage. So yeah, something got missed on that. Let me just scroll down my Twitter feed and see if there's anything, any new news. Doesn't look like it, since we started, which wouldn't be super surprising.
This jungle hides many secrets.
So let's see. Let's start with the first bit of news here, and I don't know if there's really any more bits of news to say here than just read this out loud. Valve is looking to drop support for Ubuntu 19.10 and up due to Canonical, that's the company that runs Ubuntu, decision to drop 32-bit support. This is basically the same maneuver that Apple did, where they're just kind of drawing a line in the sand and saying that they don't want to support 32-bit versions of software anymore, except for in the case of Apple products. It was very much Apple screwing over a lot of its partners, where in the case of Ubuntu, it is a case of them dropping support for a lot of the people that make a lot of the software that makes the underlying bits of Ubuntu, if I was to guess. Now, Ubuntu, at least it used to be based on Debian, and I haven't seen any talk that Debian is going down this route, and I don't see any reason why they would want to at all. There's plenty of things that run Linux that also are extremely low powered and very possibly don't support 64-bit versions of operating systems. The difference between a 32-bit operating system is that it can access and address 2 gigabytes of RAM, or maybe 4 gigabytes of RAM. I think it's 4 gigabytes of RAM, whereas a 64-bit operating system can address, like, I think hundreds of terabytes of RAM, way more than you would have in the next decade, unless something majorly changes. Let's see. Turns out playing Hunter cards in that mode does not count. So we'll still have to play Hunter. Apparently Hearthstone's gonna add some new classic cards. So starting after this pack, I guess I'm not gonna open classic packs for a while. Until I can get some more information, at least. I'm just gonna let them sit, because if there are new classic cards that come about, I should have a pile for it. That would be the smarter move, instead of just getting a bunch of dust, which is all I'm getting right now and all I'm ever going to get. So, well, I could get a gold, but golds are so extremely rare. Alright, now let's play Hunter. The update on this story is, and this is from gamingonlinux.com, and you can see it's just a bunch of text. The update here is Canonical is now saying that the 32-bit libraries will be frozen and not entirely dropped. Frozen or dropped, it's not a huge difference though, and frankly, SteamOS and Valve trying to support a Linux operating system, they were always probably doing the wrong thing by going with Ubuntu. A few years ago, Ubuntu was the best of the best. Everybody loved it. Operating system for the Linux world, for as much as that is possible. When I say everybody loved it, that means only a small fraction of a very argumentative group of Linux users liked it, but everybody has their own particular flavor. It's almost like debating religion. But after a few years ago, Ubuntu started to vastly change its focus, vastly change the way it looked, vastly change the way it handled things. Ubuntu used to be 100% about doing the easiest thing possible, in the sense of making it the easiest operating system to use. It was designed to be an operating system that could be given in many languages around the world freely and openly, so that even a kid who has never seen a computer before could figure it out in just a few hours. At some point they became this kind of chaser of the ideals of Apple and took on this attitude. I would say that they're, if it's their idea, then it's the right idea, without really listening to the community or, you know, adding any real value. I will say, Steam games on Linux, still not a super successful attempt of a thing. There's still a lot of work that could and needs to be done there. And frankly, I really don't believe that Valve will get anywhere close to even 50% of their games to run on Linux. There's too much built-in DirectX stuff. Too much built-in Windows libraries that it's just too difficult to try and emulate and be certain that it will run perfectly. Although Windows 10 is not a guarantee that old versions of games that might have run on previous versions of Windows will work either. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article. Uta no Prince Sama Dolce Vita canceled for the PS Vita and now coming to the Switch alongside 3 ports. This is, if I was to guess, a otome visual novel series. Again, otome meaning young maiden. Let's see, it's visual novel. Well, it is a visual novel, whatever it is. I guess it's important to throw out the usual shill. Like, I don't usually ask people to subscribe right now, but since tomorrow is the Steam summer sale, and I probably will do, if I'm awake, a short video highlighting that. I will ask people to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell in the way that you have to click it so that you get all notifications. And also, more importantly, because of YouTube not having small content creators monetized anymore, the only way my channel can be supported is if people friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist, or gift me a gift card, or just gift a game that they'd like to see me cover. The Steam summer sale is the perfect time to be purchasing games for yourself or for others. The other way you could support me is through Patreon. So all of those would be very much appreciated. I saw a thing talking about how the average watch time should be about 6 minutes.
Well played.
And that you should make viewers every 6 minutes basically make some kind of mental decision. And I have no idea how I would actually pull that off, quite frankly. But it is certainly an interesting concept. So the thing where I might just be off compared to normal people, though, is I don't really watch 10-minute or 6-minute videos. I just don't. If I'm watching something on YouTube, I'm going for something that's 30, 40 minutes, an hour long or longer. The Summer Games Done Quick, I believe, just started today also. I think maybe it started yesterday. As one video game company created like $200,000 for St. Jude's, I imagine Summer Games Done Quick will get several $1 million for whatever charity they're working towards. Only played 3 Hunter class cards in that. Alright, well, we've got a win streak, so we might as well keep going forward.
Rexar versus Garrosh.
So, I'm actually in the perfect position to either start scheduling some videos, which I probably should do, but also while scheduling videos, I'm in the perfect position to take tomorrow as a semi-vacation day and only make a video about the Steam Summer Sale and maybe watch Summer Games Done Quick if any of the games interest me at all, as far as whether I want to spend the time to watch them. My intention is to play Zombie, Z-O-M-B-I, which was originally Zombie U for the Wii U. That's my goal, is to play that game and have one more Halloween series, so there'll be maybe double the amount of content that has been occurring. I've been really only airing 2 yeah, I've really only been airing 2 series since January, so getting that up to 4 for Halloween in October would be fine, and then I might drop right back down to 2 after that point. Let's see. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article. Ape Escape Series 20th Anniversary Twitter account was launched, and there's an update here. So there's a potential rumor here of a new Ape Escape game or a remaster. Let's see. There's an official anniversary video that they put out. So there might be a new Ape Escape game. It wouldn't be hard, certainly, to make an Ape Escape game, if that's what your goal is. TechRaptor has an article here. Trines 4 new mechanics revitalize the series, which certainly Trine needs a revitalization. So, without actually reading this article, can we get a general idea? Seems like the Shield Knight can reflect light. Do we have to watch this 18-minute video to try and figure out what goes on here? Trine has always been a series where you had 3 characters you could switch through to get through puzzle platforming. Seems like that's still what it is. So, yeah. That looks good, or good enough, as a potential game. Now, I want to win on Hearthstone, because we're in the middle of a win streak. So if one more win streak got me up to rank 14 or 15, that would be nice. Let's see.
Unity, precision, perfection.
First game we have coming out on Steam is Zup number 9. We've been seeing this developer publisher put quite a bit of these games out on Steam, so he's flooding the market with these low cost, low effort games, which are achievement games with 100 achievements, and most definitely. And something not worthy of putting on a follow list. By the way, I can already see the Humble Bundle page tab. It never even left the screen, so that tells me, like, really small amount of content.
What is my purpose?
Today.
Unity.
There was a story, I don't know why, if I want to become a consistent reporter of what Sid Alpha reports on, but apparently there was a dirty dev that didn't want to be named as a dirty dev who was selling an asset flip that either I saw and immediately rejected, or I missed it somehow.
Ooh, I wonder
or
what this does.
there was some other way that happened.
I
But yeah, this alleged dirty dev, and everything I say is alleged, is what Sid Alpha basically said, was attempting to threaten Sid Alpha from looking at or reviewing his game before Sid Alpha had even heard about the game. And he claimed that because somebody posted a picture of this developer's screen name or comments or direct messages, that person had violated the GDPR and violated his privacy, and he was pounding the table figuratively about how as a developer his privacy had been violated, and it's like, no, this is not going to stand up in court, and this is a ridiculous attack. But we can say, I will say that already with the GDPR being really only about a year old, it seems like we've already seen a lot of people try to use that as an excuse or misuse it for their own purposes. What is giving all these things a rush? Seriously, what in the world did that do? Alright, well, that's in that. Tech Raptor has an article here, we might as well mention it. Nutaku celebrates Pride Month with LGBT games. Roosterville and FAP CEO Mainstream. These screenshots are all that's really here. I know that Nutaku, which is owned by the same parent company as Pornhub, has been trying to have more LGBT style games and expand out their game fronts. That being said, this looks like this is just a male on male version of games they already had. So yeah, they seem to like what they're gonna do. It's probably the right thing to do, is just have different versions, which inherently the next move would be to just sell the same game and have it ask you at the beginning, hey, what kind of relationships are you interested in seeing? What kind of body types are you interested in seeing? What kind of sexual gender identities are you interested in seeing? Just fill out kind of a checkbox and be given the same game, the same game for the most part as everybody else. I don't particularly agree with a segregation mentality when it comes to adult games, but there's always been categorization in storefronts, so it's kind of a matter to be argued over whether you're segregating a customer base into a smaller selection of games, or whether you're better serving the customer by categorizing things properly and saying, go over to this category if that's what you're looking for. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article. There's a report that Microsoft has laid off its content creation staff at Mixer and Inside Xbox. Seems like there's an unknown number of staff. This does seem like this would be the right time. Microsoft just did its big E3 press conference. If they were gonna write anybody else, lay off anybody, now would be the time to do it. One would assume, though, that at least some of the people from inside Xbox would have been the people that did the, I would say, rather successful presentation at E3, so it feels like you're kind of punishing people for being successful. Or you're not at least appreciating people for being successful. But it might also be that the creation staff at Mixer and Inside Xbox actually are a completely different staff, and they really haven't done anything lately to be proud of.
Ooh, I wonder what this does. Let's go!
Turn to get ready.
I don't know if we're gonna actually play too long today, frankly, because when I get done with the news, I just think I'll want to end the recording.
Free of that blasted
It's been an hour already. I could end the recording as soon as we get all of the America's account daily quests done, but yeah, I'm not sure that there's enough content to make a second recording. Moving on, Tech Raptor has an article. Hero Land feels too hands-off for an RPG, which I've never seen this game. Do they have a real review score here? No. Tech Raptor so far has not given a review score to any game since E3. So one hopes they didn't just change their editorial style to the point where it's less useful to me. Gamma Sutra has an article, how id built Wolfenstein 3 using Commander Keen tech,
This one's a real
and
page turner.
pretty much the code to make Wolfenstein 3D was then used to make Doom, I'm fairly certain. And I had just recently heard that Commander Keen was supposed to be a Mario Brother game. So, yeah. John Carmack, John Romero, big names. Yeah, this is one of those articles that's more of historical importance than actual news today, though. Yeah. So I don't really think I have a lot of time to read this, and this is more kind of an inside baseball programming lesson than it is something that I think people who don't have interest in programming and game design would actually want to see. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Decker, which looks like a low-effort, just amalgamation of shapes and text. Looks very, very ugly visually.
I wonder.
It's for $8 or $6 even. Plus, it has a third-party end-user license agreement. So, yeah, there's nothing here that would make me want to play this game. I guess maybe some of the reason why there hasn't been a lot of games announced since E3 might come around to the Steam Summer Sale. And I would also guess that anything that's been on sale in the last week won't be available on sale during the Summer Sale. It would be very weird if some of that was discounted more compared to a week earlier. Do I really believe or expect that the summer sale itself is going to be a huge amount of discounts? That is a questionable thought. It probably is going to be a good amount of discounts, but I also, as I'm closing in on getting everything that I pretty much ever wanted, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a little bit more difficult to spend money. And money I spend on the summer sale is money that I don't spend on a new video card, which I really should get a 2070 GTX card. That would double the power of my 970 theoretically, and get away from the problem that it has, which I hope will then fix the problem that I have been having with it. If not, then I guess I just can't play any Lego games or Resident Evil 4.
Behold!
Let's play this and this. And the turn. Gamma Sutra has an article. The U.S. government has blocked League of Legends in Iran and Syria due to political rising tensions between the two countries and the United States, meaning players in both regions can no longer access one of the most popular games in the world. Now, I believe League of Legends is run and owned by a Chinese company, so the U.S. government certainly is starting down a dangerous path in this case, because there's surely a lot of Chinese and Japanese games that could do the same and block access to their games in the U.S. And yeah, I thought League of Legends was owned in large part by Tencent. But yeah, if anything, I would argue that video game diplomacy could be a real thing. I doubt it really is much of a thing in Iran or Syria. You're probably just irritating a bunch of kids and possibly teaching a whole new generation to help to hate the United States. By blocking their video games. I seriously doubt that there's a case here to be said that League of Legends was being used as a way of transmitting top secret information or anything like that. So I don't think there really is a national security excuse for doing this. And frankly, that article might be a little bit too video game focused, because I wouldn't be surprised if what really is happening is a whole bunch of sanctions are being implemented on Iran and Syria today. And inside that long list of sanctions, League of Legends was just one of many things mentioned. Almost certainly that is the closer to the truth story. Gamatsu has an article here. Hitman 2 DLC location, the bank launch trailer. This is interesting because it does remind me that Hitman 2 exists and it still is getting support, which was something that I wasn't 100% certain of until I saw this. Because I wouldn't have been surprised if Hitman 2 had just kind of wrapped up and had no real intention of doing anything more.
Job's done.
TechRaptor has an article here. Mario Royale uses extra life after DMCA Takedown becomes DMCA Royale. So they took out anything, I guess, that was actual Nintendo sprites and replaced it with something else. I have no idea what Mario Royale is, though. It seems like it's a Battle Royale style game in Super Mario Bros. But how that actually works or plays, I don't know. I'm fairly certain that Mario Maker 2
Job's done.
will have some somewhat similar gameplay mode. So this might be an example of Nintendo getting rid of the competition. But they probably did have a legitimate copyright claim.
Job's done.
Next game we have on Steam is called Grid Magic, which looks to me to be a Tetris style game, although it seems to play slightly different than Tetris.
Why do you call?
Visually, though, this is not an impressive game. It's early access for $4.99, English only, so this isn't going to make it to the fall list. Let's see.
Ooh, I wonder what this does. Acquiring system.
Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Blazing Chrome launches July 11th. This looks like a platformer hack and slash Metroidvania game, if I was to guess. It's coming out on Steam. Let's see. There's a trailer here. I guess we could get a slightly better idea of what it is. Yep. Yep, it seems like it's a hack and slash platformer game. There might be something here, maybe not. I'll wait till it actually comes out on Steam, though. I really am losing energy, and see, that's just exactly what I thought was going to happen, is that I was just going to start getting really sluggish and fall asleep. That's why I needed to start early.
Put this apple on your head.
Gamatsu has an article. Koei Tecmo teases an Atelier Ryza localization announcement for June 27th. So, potentially a Western release for Atelier Ryza, which, okay. That's not super surprising. All the Atelier games seem to be getting localized and released in the West. Let's see. Let's see, Gamatsu has an article here. Silver Chains launches August 6th for PC, Quarter 4 for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This looks like it might be a interesting first-person horror game instead of the standard asset flip horror games. Let's see. Maybe not. Like the thing with any of these horror games is that they could be good, they could be bad. I feel like there was something called Silver something before, but it doesn't look to me like this is a remake of anything.
You win this time.
The just getting a great win streak. Kinda don't want to end it, but I feel like I'm gonna eventually have to end it. Let's see. Play again. Tech Raptor has an article here. Digital Dustpunk deck builder Nowhere Profit launches on Steam July 19th. This looks slightly interesting as a deck building game. But certainly I could see it also getting left in the dust of bigger deck building games. There's a lot of deck building games on Steam that have failed. So again, a game that will just come out, so I don't really need to get hyped about it before its release date. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article. Get a Job, Vicarious Vision, Square Enix and more are hiring. So Albany, New York is Vicarious Visions for a software engineer. Brace Yourself Games in Albany, New York is looking for a VFX artist. Insomniac Games in Burbank, California is looking for a new user experience. Researcher Square Enix is looking for an experienced game developer in Tokyo, Japan. We may run into some duplicate job listings later on. 1 second as I drink some water. Yeah, I am losing energy fast.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
Next we have a game on Steam here called Roadrunner, which is just an infinite runner with unimpressive graphics and unimpressive gameplay. It's discounted to 59 cents and English only. Of course, it's not making it to the file list. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Dota Underlord has topped 170,000 concurrent users in 24 hours. I looked at some of the gameplay of Dota Underlords. It doesn't look interesting to me. My thought kind of was that I might try to get into it and see if it might be a Hearthstone replacement. I don't think that that would really happen. Not from what I'm seeing. Let's see.
Whoops.
Gamma Sutra has an article here. Yeah, Bungie raises over $400,000 for the Children's Hospital during a charity live stream. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Good thing Bungie did this before Summer Day Games done quick. Because they're almost certainly going to get blown out of the water by that. Let's see.
Ooh, I wonder what this does. Acquiring victim.
Next we have a game on Steam called Revenge on the Streets. Looks like a pretty basic beat 'em up game. There's a game that's not on Steam that is a fan project of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, mostly arcade games. It's probably something you would want to download pretty fast because I would argue that it's using assets it doesn't have to be licensed to by using sprite assets from the previous games. But yeah, this new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game looked slightly interesting. Revenge on the Streets, it does not look interesting. It's discounted to $2.59 in English only. Alright, next we have a game on Steam called After the Suns, which looks like you're playing as a tribal African character who also has like laser powers of some sort. And yeah, this seems like this is just an asset flip game from the looks of it. Yeah, if this didn't feel like so much of an asset flip game, I might consider it. Although, it might be a little hard to play a game where you're playing a character that looks like this on YouTube. That's $10.99, English and Spanish. Yeah. I don't think I need to put this on the file list. Yeah, it just looks too much like an asset flip. I have three more cards to play. Next we have a game on Steam called Deep Space Anomaly. It's just an asteroids shooter, space shooter game. It looks alright, but not anything special, and certainly not my style of game to play. It's discounted for $2.54 and supports a bunch of languages. Doesn't look that good, or good enough to justify actually purchasing. Gamma Sutra has an article. Get a job, Giant Army is hiring a remote graphics developer. This would be a remote job. I've never heard of Giant Army. I feel like I've covered these job listings before. It seems like now they've just gotten to the point where they're announcing the same job every Monday. Next we have a game on Steam called The Hunter's Journals Pale Harbor. This looks like this is a mostly text game, and for that reason it doesn't look like something that would be interesting. It's $5.99, English only. Yep, that's not making it to the list. Fading fast. Gamatsu has an article here. Toho Luna Nights sales top 100,000. I need to drink some more water. I tell you, my voice just feels like it's getting worse and worse. Toho Luna Nights looks like it's a popular platformer game. Throughout the Toho series. So I'll make sure this is on the wish list.
I wonder.
Let's hit that. And
I wonder what this does.
What is my purpose?
Quickly.
Next we have a game on Steam called Zone 10, which is a fly around space game that maybe has something to do with a laser puzzle or Minesweeper. Seems like the background image here is just background image and has nothing to do with the fact that oh, I guess you land the ship, and what does that do? Does that turn it into a tower defense game? Well, this is early access, $4.99, English only. There's nothing here that looks interesting to me.
fly.
Let's go!
Oh, I played that
Job's
wrong.
Marvelous.
I can feel myself just getting sleepy. Next, we have a game on Steam called Hearthstone Reference. This looks like a space game or some kind of planetary strategy game. It's not visually polished enough to be interesting. It's early access for $6.99, English only.
All charged up!
Let's see.
Job's done.
Man, I'm just getting tired. I'm just pausing in between everything. We have a game on Steam here called Forestation Circle of Nature. It looks uninteresting, like a Unity game, single screen Unity game, some kind of puzzle. It's discounted to $3.59. Supports a bunch of languages. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother to try and figure out how it works. Seems like it's just a tree growing simulator, and that's it.
Let's go!
Next game we have on Steam is called Golden War Spirit, which looks like it might just be a slide puzzle game. I guess it's a fighting game though. Whatever it is, it's certainly not visually appealing. It's discounted to $23.29. That's extremely expensive. English only. 2.
Job's done.
Gamatsu has an article, Ape Escape Series 20th Anniversary Commemoration Video. So it doesn't seem like there's any indication that a new Ape Escape game is coming out though. They just made a video to celebrate the anniversary. We have a game on Steam that's a bunch of Asian characters called Force Space, which looks like it is a simulator Chinese game, store manager simulator type game. English not supported, $7.99, Chinese only. Yep. I doubt there was anything interesting in that. Gamatsu has an article here. Sega ages Space Harrier and launches June 27th in Japan. Okay. That's really all that needs to be said. Gamatsu has Samurai Showdown's opening movie. I really don't have any interest in watching that. It seems like it's coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC in quarter 4 of 2019. It's in return. Next, we have a game on Steam just called Again, which looks like a low-effort asset flip Unity game. It looks very uninteresting visually. It's discounted to $2.54, English only. Well, we finally lost on Hearthstone, but we got the character class done. And so I think what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna jump into the European account and show the daily quests and then play them off screen and do the same for the Asian account. And I'm gonna kind of even leave some news for Wednesday. Warner Media put out Ann Sarnoff has been named as the new chair and CEO of Warner Brothers, which might mean some changes in Warner Brothers as far as video games, but it also probably means some changes in general on just how Warner Brothers is run. I don't even have the third daily quest yet because I started so early, so we'll re-roll that. If I played Paladin, I will almost certainly get this done also. I might have picked up a bug and actually be sick, but I don't know. Here we have a game on Steam called And All Would Cry Beware, which is a ugly looking asset flip first person shooter game. It looks like it's discounted to $7.99 English only, so yeah. What do we want to roll here? Hunter class cards or weapons? Let's roll that. 2 games, any class, Overload or Hunter class cards. Let's see. We have a game on Steam here called Totally Reliable Delivery Service, which looks like a asset flip game. Just a Unity asset flip game. It has a little bit more polish than your standard asset flip game, but clearly there's not any story or gameplay concept here. It's just running around and doing silly things while delivering packages. The game is free, so that might get it some reviews, but I have no reason to cover it then. Let's see. Hearthstone has this developer insight concept, class identity, Hall of Fame, and new cards. They should probably try to do something to make more classes have some kind of identity. Let's see. The only thing I really care about are what's getting nerfed and what's getting added. Apparently we're getting a 7 mana 5/8 demon called Siegebreaker. Taunt your other demons have +1 attack. That makes some sense. A 8 mana spell called Gift of the Wild, give your minions +2/+2 and taunt. A 5 mana spell called Righteousness to give your minions Divine Shield. A 3 mana 3 attack 2 health dragon, battle cry, add a legendary minion to your hand. And a 7 mana 6 attack 8 health minion called High Inquisition White Mane, battle cry, summon all the friendly minions that died this turn. So that card in particular feels like it's just a copy of already existing cards. And then there's a 7 mana 4/4, summon a random beast. A 4 mana 5/4, destroy a random enemy secret. I'm pretty sure that card already exists too. So is it being changed or is it going away? An 8 mana 5 attack 5 health elemental. Whenever you cast a spell, gain +2/+2. So this article doesn't seem to be as in detailed as to what might get changed or anything like that. But at the very least, it's nice to see they're still working on Hearthstone and they haven't completely abandoned it yet. Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam called The Storytale that looks like a platformer that I'm going to be generous about and put on the follow list. It's early access, discounted to $11.10. It supports English, Russian, and Ukrainian, so it's probably a Russian troll game. But I'll let it fall. I'll follow it and see what happens. Wouldn't be a standard game if I didn't talk about at least one anime game with sexual content or nudity. And frankly, it wouldn't be a standard day if I'm not talking about Senran Kagura in particular. So Senran Kagura Reflections, which is the mostly just massaging / groping the anime characters game, is on Steam with what seems to be no problem. And here you have an anime girl in a school setting. She's in kind of a uniform, but it's not particularly a school Navy sailor suit, but that's definitely a school uniform there. So yeah, it seems like this got on Steam particularly fine. And doesn't seem like there's any real problems here. The only real problem I think you'd run into is that when you buy all the DLC, you're going to end up spending a ridiculous amount of money, $92.53. Unfortunately, these kind of games don't seem like they ever get bundled or get any cheaper. There's no complete collection that seems to ever come out. So I guess that is something you would just have to worry about. Gamatsu has an article here. Dream Daddy Director's Cut is coming to smartphones on June 25th and the Switch on July 2nd. I guess the question here is the Dad Director's Cut coming to PC? The Dad Director's Cut was patched into the PC version day and date of the PlayStation 4 releases. Okay, so I don't know what the Dad Director's Cut really added, if anything, or if it's just a funny way to say a patch version. It's a little weird to have a dad dating simulator game in general, but playing one particularly on your cell phone is crazy. Something that's unheard of before. Scum, a game nobody's playing, put out a update patch, and I noticed that the picture had changed and there's like a female character instead of a male gangster character was the person that they were using before. Turns out that female characters in general were patched into the game, so that's pretty late. In fact, yeah, that's really late. I don't think that saves Scum as a game. I still think it's probably a battle royale survival game that nobody really wants to play, and that we've seen several times already done better. But yeah, that was weird. It surprised me quite a bit that if your game is ever going to have female characters to play as, you probably should have them at the beginning and not as a patch in what feels like 6 months later. Let's see, I'm going to start skipping some games. TechRaptor has an article, TechRaptor's 10 best games at E3 and all of our nominees. Their pick was Control, Cyberpunk 2077, Darksiders Genesis, Doom Eternal. This really is just an article that lets them mention all the articles they published. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Judgment, was that even at E3? No Straight Roads, The Outer Worlds, which is an Epic exclusive, Psychonauts 2, Scavengers, I don't even know what that game is. And then there's a whole list of other games that they saw and considered but rejected in the long run. I'm surprised the Sinking City actually had any coverage at all. That's one game that was overly hyped last year and then completely forgotten this year. Let's see. I'm trying to skip some of these. skip every game release and we'll just talk about them on Wednesday. Wednesday, I might go the other direction. I might, instead of doing an early stream, do a very late stream. Who knows? TechCraft has an article though. Paranoia is a tactical RPG with AI, Big Brother watching your every move. It's a video game because it sounded kind of like a tabletop game. Let's see. It's coming out at the end of 2019 for the PS4 and Xbox One and PC. So this is one of those hype articles. Let's see. Yeah, we have really only one more article. TechCraft has an article here. A look at 2 Daedalic titles from E3 that break genre conventions. Iratus, Lord of the Dead, and Iron Danger. Neither one of these games I heard anything about at all. Seems like Iratus, Lord of the Dead is a Diablo-esque style game. Although, I guess maybe it's more of a Darkest Dungeon style of game. And then Iron Danger is more of a Diablo-esque style game. Daedalic is definitely trying to get away from point-and-click adventures. The question is, will they actually succeed at that? I've yet to see success on their releases, or a large amount of success. I think I've mentioned it several times, but Clannad for Switch is launching July 4th worldwide. That might be a new announcement of a release date worldwide. Otherwise, that's just like the 4th time I've mentioned Clannad for Switch. Then I'm at the Humble Bundle, and it still doesn't seem like there's a game bundle. But it seems like if a games bundle is gonna start, it might happen tomorrow in the middle of E3. Not in the middle of E3, but in the middle of the Steam summer sale, if it truly does happen tomorrow. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through my Twitter feed as if there's anything new I would want to say as I'm falling asleep. There's about 7 games that I didn't mention. I might go through it and curate it a little bit. I might just leave it alone for Wednesday. Yeah, that's going to be it for the stream. We'll just make it slightly shorter, and at the end it still was on an hour and 45 minutes long. But yeah, I'm falling asleep, so trying to stretch this out is just going to go badly. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.